Okay, let's not waste any more time on introductions or anything. Let's just get straight
We
into
just
it.
get into it. Why should you give a fuck?
The main goal and purpose of us being here today is to maybe redefine what activism means, maybe introspect a little on what our activism has meant so far, and maybe figure a way forward from here. Um, I wanted to start this conversation off of the BDS movement, which stands for Boycott, Divest, and Sanction. It's worked historically. It's worked in apartheid South Africa. You want to exemplify how?
Yeah. So
Uh,
effectively, the BDS system works towards targeting corporations, right? That are financing these particular, movements or financing oppression in itself, right? So we tank their stock market value or their profits and so on and so forth in order to have them lobby the government back into what we want them to do, right? So effectively, that's what BDS tries to achieve. So an example would be the Starbucks effect that took place with the recent Palestinian issue. The moment people realized Starbucks is financing Israel, people started boycotting Starbucks and its profits took a hit. Right now, something that we have to keep in mind, however, is that Starbucks did not go into loss. Right, their profits reduced, but there were still no losses. They were still profitable as a business. Right, that is because these companies have also learned how to fight against the BDS movement. Right, that is called disinvesting. Effectively, you do not put all your eggs in one basket. No matter what we do to a corporation today, how much ever we boycott them, there will always be a commodity that they are selling that we cannot not buy. Okay, it'll be a medication, it'll be some basic food material, it'll be some machine that they are using in farming, that it'll be machines used in defense, so on and so forth. So they have disinvested in order to be able to overcome the BDS movement, right? So how effective is boycotting today, right? Let's say someone goes to a biryani shop, right? There's this Ambur biryani, you bought 100 rupees biryani, along with it you buy a 20 rupee Coke. Are you, by buying that 20 rupee Coke, fighting against the BDS movement? No. Because when you buy that 20 rupee Coke, all you're doing is ensuring that the shopkeeper gets a profit. Why? Because the shopkeeper has that Coke, it means that he's already paid for it. He's already paid for it. The company has got the profit already. Because Pepsi and Coca-Cola basically use this format where their shopkeepers have to purchase it first. They don't have a stock. They're not a space where they keep stock. They effectively buy it. So by boycotting Pepsi, Coca-Cola, etc., all you're doing is hindering the business of the local business people around you. If you're going to a mall, maybe don't buy Coke or Pepsi. But if you're going to a tiny shop nearby, it's fine. It's completely okay. All you're doing is helping that old uncle out.
so answer this question: does less profit mean less money for a genocide?
Not really. So let us say their profits have reduced, right? The money for the genocide is a fixed allocation. For example, now Israel is committing a genocide or Myanmar is committing a genocide. They get the funding for it fixed. Their annual budget has a separate section for it in the form of defense spending, right? Along with that, the United States of America finances them, right? So approximately $11 billion a year is what is going towards the United States of America. More conservative estimates say $3 billion, but the recent budget had about $18 billion sent to Israel. So effectively, no matter what we do, the amount of money going is going to be the same. It's just that the way it goes becomes a little more complex.
Yes.
So, what is the link between Starbucks and the like, what are they doing?
All right. So Starbucks is a company, has its bases set up in its corporate setup in Israel, Tel Aviv, and it also has its corporate setup in the United States of America. Right. So effectively, they're paying taxes where to these two countries. Right. And when they're paying taxes, they pay taxes over their profit. Uh, Now, how this is connected is there's this company called as BlackRock. Now, BlackRock as a company is an investment firm. They invest in defense companies. They also invest in these companies. So BlackRock buys shares of Starbucks, and those shares generate profit, which is then reinvested in the defense companies, who then are profiting from the war that is happening. So that is how they are linked.
States are not corporations. Everybody's got their own military budget. Everybody's got a narrative that they want to push. And these aid pipelines are not going to stop if you stop buying that venti that you always pick up from Starbucks. So does your activism basically become reduced to as good as a rounding error that would become an accounting cost at the end of the day when you're trying to see how much money is going? Think about it this way: if you in India saying I don't want to buy a Starbucks coffee or I don't want to buy Hindustan Unilever products because it supports a war, You grow up and you start to pay taxes. The Indian military is one of the biggest purchasers of Israeli defense tech. That makes you kind of realize that if you were to follow the same line of thought, wouldn't true activism then basically mean tax evasion instead of not buying
It is, right?
Unilever products?
So that's the thing. So our state also allows us to evade tax in different ways, right? How do you evade tax in a country like India? Through CSR, right? Corporate social responsibility. The more you engage in social responsibility, the less tax you have to pay towards the government, right? Start doing things and claim them in your tax, tax filing towards the end. So let us say you are helping this one kid out by buying him a book and a pen, right? That expense of a book and a pen can be claimed as tax returns, right? So every single small act of help that you do, record it, keep the bills, keep the receipts, and then when you file your tax, you file tax returns, right? And effectively at the end, you will be paying very little amount of tax. So I have filed 2 tax returns so far, right? In my first tax return, I only paid 300 rupees of tax to the government, and in my second tax return, I got 150 rupees back from the government, right? So I paid 0 rupees in tax, and then I also was able to claim another additional 150 rupees in tax benefit.
Now, it's important to understand that what is legitimacy. Legitimacy could be given to an authority as well, but legitimacy can also come from the people. That is basically the essence of what legitimacy is. All of you guys are here and listening to Uni right now is because you know that Uni's done a certain bit of work in the PWD and he's done a little bit of social intervention himself, so that he has that level of authority that you guys have decided to give to him, that we're going to shut up and listen when he speaks. So the legitimacy comes from the people themselves. That's why when we organize ourselves into protests, it shows us that what we see is not legitimate anymore and therefore it has to change. But again, there's too much on the line for a lot of us to be able to organize ourselves into protests, because things can go south at any point in time. We're all students, we're all working professionals. Nobody wants to go to jail at this point in time, right? So what's the right way to go about it? So there exists a third called state-based legal action. There's ways to beat the system by the system itself. So when he says the example of using CSR returns, or doing filing tax returns for that matter, to be able to pay less taxes for a cause that you don't believe at all, you're basically using a legal method that is mandated by the constitution to champion the same cause that you would have stood for without looking like a criminal in the process. So these are the three basically broad paradigms of what your activism could look like. Now, obviously, who you choose to blame is also going to affect what sort of activism you want to believe in. So if you blame the government, you are going to go for a state-based action where you're going to protest. If you blame the corporations like Starbucks for funding a genocide, you'll choose to not buy a particular product. If you choose state-based legal action, you will say, I have faith in the UN and the international organizations. I'm going to hope that there's a draft resolution that comes out sometime soon. Notice where your instinct lies, because it's obviously going to be subjective to all of us. We're all going to try to blame a different person, and that's why, like I said before we started the conversation, when we started taping, that problem definitions really decide the solution space that you're going to work in, right? So these were the basic definitions. Now let's bring it a little closer to home. Let's talk about a problem that you guys have seen your friends, your families, your family WhatsApp groups talk about, that our city has a water shortage right now. Daily usage is about 2.6 thousand. I have verified. You said 1 billion. It's actually more than
2.6 billion.
2.6 million liters of water is used on a daily basis. Bangalore's underground water table has absolutely depleted. The city is reduced to 7 big lakes right now, and we're in a deficit of about 885 million liters. Now, basically, the water in this city is supposed to come from the Kaveri River. That's about 400 kilometers away from here. And that's another rabbit hole about the Tamil Nadu and the Karnataka dispute for the river. But basically, the goal was to create pipelines that enter into the city, and that basically uses the stream to be able to bring water to our houses. This project was supposed to complete in 2024.
Still not.
We are still 3 stages away from complete completion. So now, with the Kaveri River, Bangalore and the municipality, which is the BWSSB, is currently only supplying water to about 40% of the households. And out of the 244 wards that are in Bangalore right now, 85 are in high scarcity regions. Outside Christ in the back, have you guys noticed near the back gate, there is a steel container which is a water ATM, and that limits people to taking out only one bucket of water per person, which I think has been extended to per family now. Can you imagine living an entire day off of a single bucket of water? Now, who's to blame in this process? And in this current situation, because the municipality is undersupplying water to the city, you've got people privately digging bore wells into the ground and extracting water out of it in a very disproportionate way. So there's something called the problem of commons, right? So when I say commons, I don't mean common people, I mean a commons as in a common property. Now, common property could be unowned land, collectively owned land, or government owned land. Basically, a common property could be, say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 people of us are here, and there is a patch of meadow over here, okay? We're all entitled to have our cattle graze on this patch. Now, we all know that if we have our cattle graze more on that piece of land, then we will get more profit out of it. But we also know that if everybody acts in their own self interest, there will be nothing left to graze in the first place. So we need to figure out an optimal way of saying, okay, you will graze on a certain patch for a certain period of time, so that there is more grass that can be grown again in the process, and therefore there is enough left, sustainably enough for that matter, for the grass to grow again as well, and for us to be able to maintain our livelihoods as well, right? But all of us are selfish, so we're all going to make sure that we graze as much as possible, to the point that there's going to be nothing left in the process. Now that's the basic tragedy of commons, right? And that's what's going on here as well. Everybody's been digging their own bore wells. Most of your own cooperating housing societies have dug their own bore wells. If you live in a PG, guaranteed you've dug your own bore well. And what that's doing to the underground water table is that it's being depleted at an unfathomable rate. I mean, so I'll get to what I was basically getting to, is that there was a vacuum that was left by the municipality in water supply in the city. And what that basically did was it gave way to people to privately dig bore wells and start their own water tankers. Now, these water tankers are going to sell water to you at 3 times the rate. So I think a tanker goes for 3,000 rupees right now, and the government gives it for less than 1,500, 1,700 rupees. And it's created something known as a water mafia. That's what the people call it. I don't think it's a mafia, because mafia would mean it's organized crime, and this is basically completely state mandated. But you're taking 3 times the amount of price for supplying water to something that the government should have been doing in the first place. Now, who you choose to blame in this process will really define what sort of activism you want to take up. How many of y'all, by a show of hands, would think from this problem that I gave to y'all, that the water mafia is to blame for the groundwater depletion? I thought for the longest.
I still think so.
Okay, because these guys are keep extracting at unsustainable paces, and it's depleting the water table. How many of y'all think it's the government's fault for not bringing in water to the entire city? Okay. Now, if we were to bring in a market-based intervention for the three of us, what would we do? We would basically start a water corporation ourselves, dig our own borewell, remove water sustainably from it, price it slightly higher than the government rates, but much below the water mafia rates, to basically create this new price for ourselves that will actually allow us to sell to way more people at a way more affordable cost, make profits in the process, get subsidies from the government for actually doing something that's socially desirable, make money for ourselves, and fix the problem of water shortage in the process. That's market-based activism. State-based activism would basically mean come out on the streets and protest and say finish the remaining 2 stages of the project and bring water to the rest of the cities. Come back to this, we'll edit this post, but I want to share this with you guys also. So the government also recognized this, right? That private water tankers are bringing water into your doorstep. So I don't need to build a pipeline all the way from the goddamn river to bring water to my house. So what the government started doing is they started bringing their own water tankers into the process. They've started this app called Sanchari Kaveri. You can book a water tanker on your phone, and it's going to show up. It's going to give you water at the same rate as it would be charging anybody else for the pipelines. Now the problem is that obviously the market is huge that you want to cater to. Many people are already bound into contracts with these water tanker mafias, and also because the government is at the end of the day working at a lower efficiency. So if I book a water tanker today, there's a good chance I won't get it for the next 2 days, and that's something that we cannot afford. So to be able to cater to that was something that the government really found issue with. There's a lot of very few refilling stations across the city. So if I want to bring water to you in Kormangla and my tanker is out of water in JP Nagar, my filling station might just be in Indranagar, and there's a good chance that I might get so stuck in traffic that you don't get your water at all, for that matter. So that's also something that the government is trying to do. So the government itself has a market-based intervention to counter it, but it's not really working at its complete efficiency. Let's hope that it does. State-based action, we would come down on the streets. We would say we want this project to be completed within the next year itself, and we will protest until it doesn't. That's putting pressure on the government through a state-based intervention. A state-based legal interaction, and here's where the catch is. There's something known as a Sakala Services Act.
So I'll cut.
Go for it.
Yeah. All right. Sakala.
Sakala.
SAKALA. Right. So state-based legal intervention. Now, what we can do, right? The first step, I would say here, the most efficient step, because well, making a water-based company is not feasible to any of us, right? Neither is getting on the street and protesting for water, because if you can't take a shower in the morning or take a shit, why would you come onto the streets? It's going to be a big issue there. Right. So without the water, you're already immobilized. So what can we do? There are two things we can do. The first step that you will effectively have to take is buy a Kaveri pipeline, a connection, right? A lot of people in Bangalore do not even opt for the Kaveri pipeline, even if it is accessible to them. Why? Because they feel like bore water is cleaner. It is. To a certain extent, it is. But that difference in cleanliness is not so big that you would deplete the groundwater aquifers. So one thing we can do is opt for Kaveri water if you have access to Kaveri water. It's hard water. There are machines that you can figure out this 500 rupees, 600 rupees things on Amazon that will turn hard water into soft water if you attach them to your pipes. Do it. Right. Second thing you can do is the Sakala Act. So it is something that passed for until yesterday that either of us knew if it had passed or not, but it has passed in Karnataka. But it is not as efficient as we thought it was. So the Sakala Act basically allows you to go online, post a grievance, make a complaint, and within the specified amount of time, it has to they have to like come and fulfill the grievance. Right now, the specified amount of time we initially thought would be like a feasible amount of maybe 2 days, 3 days, but in reality it's 30 days. It is still faster than the police because police works at 90 days, but 30 days is something. So let us say within 30 days your problem is not fixed. So let us say you wanted a pipeline connection and you've made a complaint for a pipeline connection and it has not come in 30 days. From the 31st day, you are entitled to rupees 500 every single day that they do not put that pipeline. Right? They do not fix your problem. Let us say there is a drain that is broken and you've put a complaint for it. Within 30 days, if that drain is not fixed, every single day after that, every day you are entitled to 500 rupees in basically claims. So it's a fine that they put on the BAWSSB, and that fine is compensated to
it actually goes straight to the complaint officer.
Yes, but the process for that is very painstaking, right?
Yeah, so but imagine, dude, like if you have a GSE number, the person or the officer who's assigned to make sure that your problem is solved, every single day that they don't do their job, they personally get fined 500 rupees.
Exactly.
So fuck one person, dude. Imagine an entire society or like all of us decided to collectively file one complaint individually.
That is 5,000 rupees every single day.
5,000 rupees you're making right now over here.
Right. We can use that to finance something. 5,000 rupees, we'll buy one tanker. Right. So every single day that they delay, we will keep getting that 500. So we have to suffer for 30 days. After that, they'll start financing our tankers for us if 10 of us complain. Right. So essentially, that's what the Sakala Act functions at. If you know there is some road that has not been fixed for the past month or so, file a complaint. It will not get fixed in the next month. I guarantee you that, right? Just keep pestering them until the 31st day. From the day 31, they will have to start paying you 500 rupees.
The crazier thing that you can actually end up doing is, say I'm not even getting my 500 rupees a fine a day, okay, and it's been a month now. I can take this because I have a literal number that is generated for my complaint. I can just take this to the consumer court.
Exactly.
And consumer courts work at such a fast rate. It works within a day.
Within a day. So that's the thing. So the Indian judiciary system is very slow, but India's consumer court system is insanely fast. Right? If it's a private company, your consumer complaints within 1 week your case is sorted. Okay, and the cost is also very low if you go for a state-appointed representative or if you represent yourself. And because these are very small claims, you don't even have to worry about the opposition having a good lawyer because they won't. They might as well just pay the fine and go. That's as simple as that.
That's cheaper for them.
It's cheaper for them. So what all you have to do is, these are small claim courts. Small claim courts, when it comes to the government, will even run faster because the court has this assumption that it gives the citizen the benefit of the doubt as opposed to the state. Right? So the entire process is much faster, and the state does not want to sit and spend money fighting in the small claims court. So if it's 500 rupees, they'll okay, fine, take the 500 rupees and go. So you put on five small claims court, you will get the money. So over time, what happens is you've created a consumer responsibility from the state. So you are now like, I have paid taxes to you. So as a consumer, you have to make sure that my needs are met, and you're taking it to consumer court. So it gives a completely new definition to the right to constitutional remedy. Right? It's basically speeding that process up. So abuse that, right? Similarly, if you go to the BWSSB portal and file a complaint, let us say you have an electricity shortage, like they've cut the electricity, right? All you have to do is, that is this number, I think it's 1914 or something. So you just have to look at BESCOM number, right? It's like a 4-digit number. You give a call to that number, within 45 minutes your current will come back. Like, they are legally obligated to restore electricity into your region if you give them a call, and within like the next hour at most. So if you ever have a electricity cut, look up the BESCOM number. It's I think 1914 if I'm not wrong, but just check it up once though, and give them a call. It's like a customer service number. Call them and be like, this is the area that has not been power. Lie to them also. Be like, has not been power for the entire day. They will be like, okay, fine, sir, sorry, sir, and they'll cut the call. Within 1 hour, the power will come back. But 1 hour power doesn't come back, pester them. Keep calling them. You are basically draining resources from them every time you make a call, every time you make a complaint, every time you go and sit in the magistrate office, every time you go to court. Whose resources are you draining? The state's. You drain as much resources of the state as possible. It will get annoyed. It will listen to you. Right? So, yes.
So how many people do you know of any people, or how many people are actually using their rights?
Not a lot of people.
Not that you know of?
I know that I am using it, but.
You have gone to court and fought.
Oh, wait. Yeah, there are a lot of people. There are a lot of people who keeps going. So, small claim courts you can apply on your phone. So, there's consumer court and cyber crimes. Both of these are accessible to you on your phone. So, there's a consumer court website on your phone. You can go there. You enter your Sakala number, right? And so there'll be an entire portal for it. Be like, this is the, so they have, so I think the UI for these websites are not easy. So it will take some time to understand it. But once you understand it, it's going to be like one easy breeze through, but you can do it on your phone. So you will get claims through your phone itself.
So that's what we actually wanted to talk about, because it's a conversation that not a lot of people were having. But yeah, coming back to awareness and why do we care at all. People, it's very easy to say that, it doesn't affect me directly. Why should I bother? I'm doing my own thing. I'm not the reason that this problem exists. Why should I even care at all? And that's something that we faced a lot of people replying to us when we talk to them about social responsibility and being active citizens. But Unni gave me a very clever way of giving a very selfish argument for being socially benevolent as well. Take us through that.
So effectively, why you should give a fuck is because it'll come bite you in the ass if you don't. Okay, it's as simple as that, right? You do not want to be generous. You don't have to go out of your way to help people because that is the right thing to do. You go do that because it makes you happy, right? If it makes you happy, do it. It's completely fine. Having a selfish motive to do something good is completely okay because you are doing something good at the end of the day, right? If you ensure that people have rights, right? If you ensure that the most marginalized people in society have rights, you will ensure that tomorrow when you are part of them, you will also have rights, right? The rights of the most vulnerable person in society is the extent to which your own rights exist. The moment that is taken away, it's very quick for your rights to be taken away as well. Because I'll tell you, how many of us here are maybe at most 1 or 2 medical bills away from, being poor, right? It's just our reality. At the end of the day, the middle class Indian is very easily going to become broke. One medical bill for me will ruin my family, right? And that's just how. And the thing is, the funniest part is, all of us are a part of the top 20% of our country's population, right? So why would we not ensure that the rest 80%'s rights are ensured when we know that it's that easy for us to go fall in that category? You don't need a motive to be nice, to be kind. You don't need it. Amazing, you're a brilliant person. But then you find someone that needs it, just tell this to them, right? Bring it to them. Be like, bro, you don't know how easy it is for you to get fucked over. So as simple as that. Give a fuck right now. Tomorrow someone will fuck about you, right? It's, you build systems that protect you. You will be protected when your times are not as good as well.
I personally take issue with the word charity because it implies some level of generosity or thinking that you are doing something out of a higher moral authority just to make yourselves feel better, Uni would say, go for it, do that, be rational and do that. But my argument is also that even if you are a selfish, rational economist to the truest sense of the word, a utilitarian, also understand that your rights are only as secure as the most vulnerable person in the society. And like he said, it's going to take, there's a very fine line that separates you from them. And it's not going to take long for you to be a part of the collective as either, if things do go south. So protect yourself, but protecting yourself also means protecting the people around you, because they're going to come back. It all pays off in the end, and in the process you also end up creating a community. You end up creating some level of, a feeling of socializing yourself with the society you surround ourselves. I mean, who am I kidding, dude? You guys know more about New York City than Bangalore, for that matter, because of the amount of content you've consumed. No wonder students want to go abroad and study. They relate more with that culture because we choose to disassociate ourselves with the world outside of us. I mean, the 10% and the top 20%, the bubble is so big that we could limit ourselves within the world around us and think that that's as big as it gets. So yeah, so that attitude shift is something that we wanted to speak to you guys about. There's a better word for it. I was telling Oni yesterday, I think redistribution is a better word. And Oni's like, yeah, you'll say today I redistributed 500 rupees to a beggar. I'm like, what? So, okay. So let's not maybe call it redistribution. Maybe we can call it mutual aid. We helped each other out. A person needed some help, I helped them out. And that's a better way of framing it, because in framing your action that way, you're also humanizing the other person you're trying to help in the process. Let's come to how we frame our problems and how we frame our actions, because like I said, problem definitions define the solution space you're working in, and I'm going to keep repeating that because it's very easy to say that thousands are dying in Palestine. It's very easy to say that because it seems abstract. If you feel like you spoke about the problem, but you're too far away from it to do anything about it. So speaking about it is your form of activism. It's easy to say thousands are dying in Gaza.
But
What's
it's
a
a lot
better
harder,
framing
yeah.
is,
So it's a lot harder for us to effectively say that, some kid's leg got blown off in Gaza, or her school is no longer existing.
yeah, like a
Right? There are-
7-year-old girl cannot find her school anymore because it got blown to bits.
right? So that is easier to connect with. Effectively, what we're trying to do is humanize the global problems first, and that is what will allow your activism to grow. If you cannot connect with the problem as your own, right, you will never ever take an action towards it, right? So I will say, let's say you have energy to put up one story, right? It will take the same energy to take a donation link and go to someone that you know has money, or if you have money, and make like a small donation, right? 10 rupees, 50 rupees, 20 rupees. It doesn't really matter what money you're giving, right? The fact that you're giving does more than reposting like an AI generated story, right? And it takes the same energy. And that is the first step towards action, because the moment you've spent some money that way, you have already started humanizing the problem, because you no longer feel generous. It was 10 rupees. It was not that big a deal, like, but why did you feel like giving that 10 rupees? Because you felt connected. You felt like it was important, right? Which is why one example that I'll give you is the effort that the Palestinian people took to record a name of the victims of the, uh, you know, um, and they did it in order of age. And the first 17 pages were filled with children that were not even 1 year old. Names of children that were not even 1 year old. So infants, first 17 pages, right? And that entire booklet was about 500 and something pages long. And that was an act of humanization, right? That made us connect. Imagine 17 pages of a book filled with names of children that have not even lived a year in their life, killed by a state. That makes you angry, right? That makes you despair. Capture those emotions, capture those feelings, and then work towards it, right? Despair is very easy to get lost in, right? I think Arya brought it up, and she was like, I was feeling bad and I don't think I deserve to feel bad, right? You don't have to do much to feel bad, right? The fact that this emotion is rising itself is very important, because that indicates you have empathy, and that allows you to think about what to do next. And if it's a small thing, very small thing, as showing a donation link to someone, or just walking up to someone and telling them, hey, this is what I've heard about, and I think this was wrong, and I think you should know about it as well, and if you can do something over it, maybe do something, is also action. It is more than just consuming. Anything that you do beyond consumption is action, right? Anything that you can do within your means is action. And I think with that we can close the session and move to takeaways, right?
yeah, so on the basic takeaway that we wanted to give you all is, give a fuck, but give a structured and informed fuck. and know that giving a fuck is actually making a difference also in the process. So that was basically
That was
what
the
we
biggest
wanted to.
takeaway. Yeah. Exactly.
So yeah, thanks for being here.
Thank you so
and
much for
that was
joining
the
us,
first
guys.
takeaways, comments, questions. We're open to everything.
Everything, yeah.